There's nothing better than having a good antagonist in an anime. Some of the most memorable moments in my favorite shows have come from the tension that's been building between characters as they clash time and time again. And who makes better antagonists than the people who once tried to take over the entire world? I'm Devin from Video 2, and today I'll be listing my top 5 animes that make me go, sweet, this anime has Nazis in it. Number 5, Black Lagoon. Coming in at number 5 is Black Lagoon, an anime released back in 2006 about a group of pirates that takes on a new member after his bosses refuse to pay the ransom to get him back. The show is filled with action and has a sort of fish out of water element as the viewer watches Rock acclimate to his new life of being a pirate. In episodes 4 through 6, things take a turn for the worse when the gang ends up fighting against a bunch of Nazis over the possession of a priceless painting and they lose. Eventually, the gang is able to track down the Nazi ship, kill them all, and get the painting back, but unfortunately that's the last we see of the Nazis after that. Black Lagoon comes in 5th place because with the exception of some of the flashbacks, all the Nazis we see are the watered-down Neo variety, and they're compartmentalized in this one story arc. Number 4, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This entry's a little weird because, well, Stroheim, the main Nazi in JoJo Part 2, is kind of a really good guy. Sure, he starts off a little rough by holding Speedwagon hostage and trying to resurrect a dangerous unknown entity in hopes of using it as a German weapon, but by the end of his character arc, he saved Joseph 3 times, risking his own life in the process, because he knew that if the Pillarmen were left unopposed, they would threaten not only his motherland, but the entire world. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure only comes in 4th place on our list because it shows that Nazis were capable of being human and willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, and that doesn't fit into my worldview that all Nazis were evil. Number 3, Fullmetal Alchemist. Even if you're not a fan of anime, chances are you've at least heard of Fullmetal Alchemist. But did you know there were Nazis in it? In the movie Conqueror of Shambhala, Edward is teleported to our world in the year 1923, where instead of alchemy, society is pushed forward by the development of steam power. Things seem fine for Edward until the Thule Society, a bunch of Nazis suffering from 8th grader syndrome, start trying to open up a portal to take over his home world. As the plot progresses, we even get to see some of our favorite characters from the anime, like Lieutenant Colonel Hughes, help set in motion Hitler's rise to power. All in all, it's a pretty good Nazi origin story, but with all the superhero origin movies Marvel's been pushing out lately, it feels like it hasn't aged as well as it could have. Regardless of that, it still handily earns its spot at number 3 on our list. Number 2, Hellsing Ultimate. If JoJo served as a good example that some Nazis could be decent human beings, then Hellsing Ultimate is a great example that they can also be the absolute worst. It's revealed that the entire plot of the show was set in motion by one man, a Nazi known only as the Major, just so that he could perpetuate an endless war for him and his army to fight. While his plans were eventually stopped, the estimated deaths caused from his attack on London were just over 3 million, and it took many years to restore the city and move on. There were other groups involved in the London attack, even including the Catholic Church, but it's revealed that they were all being manipulated into doing what the Major wanted them to, making him even that more dangerous of an antagonist. In terms of sheer Nazi-ness, I'd rank the Major second only to Hitler himself. And that's why Hellsing Ultimate gets number 2 on our list.
Do we even know who is this 4chan?
Number 1, CNN. CNN is a comedic anime about a fictitious news station by the same name trying and failing time and time again to report reliable, unbiased, and timely news to its viewers. The humor from CNN comes from the juxtaposition of what looks and feels like a legitimate news station and the absolute ridiculousness of some of the stories they report on. Sometimes the humor just falls flat, like the time the character Anderson Cooper tried making a bunch of kafefe jokes the same night that I released my far superior video on the topic. But other times the sheer absurdity of the story carries the show despite the poor delivery, such as the time they reported on President Trump getting 2 scoops of ice cream instead of 1 at a correspondence dinner. In the middle of the Trump and Russia collusion arc that's been bogging down the anime over the last year, they aired a short filler arc about Nazis marching in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it was by far the most popular arc they've had in a while. The story got so big that Vice Animation and HBO teamed up to make a 22-minute long OVA centered around some of the more influential characters of the story. CNN earns the number 1 spot on our list because of the mass amount of audience participation it garnered. To this day, I cannot go on Twitter without seeing someone accuse someone else of being a Nazi, regardless of their actual political agenda or views on race, and that speaks wonders about the staying power of this wonderful story. Since they aired the Nazi arc, they've fallen back into some old habits, like when they reported on the way President Trump fed some koi fish while visiting Japan, so it's uncertain whether or not we'll get another great story like the Nazi arc from CNN in the near future, but we can still hope. Until then, I've been Devin from Video 2, and if you liked this video, consider subscribing to my channel. If you know any other great animes with Nazis in them, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.